Okay, then Paige, anytime you're ready, okay?
Alright. Hello. I'm going to start with a blog post. Today, I made a bet with one of my classmates that the world was not going to end in 2012. We bet 100. I already won, because if it doesn't, then we'll all be dead. Therefore, I'll not have to pay him anything. So technically, I already won 2 years in advance. I should have bet more. Our race has been trying to predict the end of our world since it began, and we have not been very successful at it. We have used the Bible, the solar system, and even old calendars to try to predict when our world will end. My credibility? I'm a human being living on this planet, just like you. And that is why this should be important to you. We all live here. No other planet can sustain us. And we know the world is going to end. Everything has to end sooner or later. What drives me nuts are people declaring that the world is going to end on some random date and causing a fuss or worse. And that is why my stance is, don't worry about the world ending when no one has ever been able to predict its end. And my points I'm going to cover are, don't panic, the opposition's predictions, my argument to those predictions, what I have to say, and to live like the world is going to end tomorrow. My first point is, don't panic over these crazy predictions people are making, because as we can obviously tell, we are still here. Listen to this. The Hale-Bopp comet was visible to the naked eye for a record 18 months. Amateur astronomer Chuck Shremick observed a companion object following the comet. He then called the Art Bell radio show to report his findings. This led many to believe a variety of end-of-the-world theories. The Heaven's Gate cult felt this was their signal to commit mass suicide in March of 1997. Guess what? The world did not end. But really, look what people have tried to predict in the world has caused. We as humans are afraid of the end of the world, and fear causes panic to set in. Bill Tinker was going to euthanize his pets in May 21st, 2011 when he believed the world was going to end. 2 different mothers contacted NASA to know if they should kill themselves and their children, so they would not have to suffer the end of the world in 2012. 2 teenagers also contacted NASA about the same question. People have left everything behind, from quitting their jobs, selling their homes, and all their possessions. People even left their friends and family behind when they believed the rapture was coming and their friends and family would be left behind. For nothing. What will happen if the previously mentioned women kill themselves and their children and the world doesn't end? How about the teenagers or the animals? Look at the lives taken from the panda from the Hale-Bopp comet. The people that left behind loved ones and friends because the world might have ended. They're willing to give up everything for something that most likely will not happen. In order to get a feel for some of these predictions, I'm going to take a look at a couple of them. And I'll start with our most popular one, December 21st, 2012. The story started with claims that Nibiru, a planet discovered by the Sumerians, is headed towards Earth. Then it was linked to the end of one of the cycles in the ancient Mayan calendar at the winter solstice in 2012. Hence the predicted doomsday date of December 21st, 2012. People have also started claims that the Earth will align with other planets, causing a disaster to strike. Another one, Harold Camping, presented several arguments which he called biblical proofs in favor of the May 21st, 2011 end-time theory. A civil engineer by training, Camping stated that he had attempted to work out mathematically based prophecies from the Bible for decades. In 1970, Camping dated the Great Flood to 4990 BC, and using this date and taking multiple Bible verses, Camping concluded that the end of the world would include in 2011, 7,000 years from 4990 BC. Camping takes the 17th day of the second month mentioned in Genesis 7:11 to be May 21st, and hence predicts the rapture to occur on this date. Alright, just as the calendar on your kitchen wall does not cease to exist after December 31st, the Mayan calendar does not cease to exist on December 21st, 2012. This date is the end of the Mayan long count period, but then, just as the calendar begins on January 1st, another long count period begins for the Mayan calendar. Nibiru and other stories about wayward planets are net hoax. There's no factual basis for these claims. If Nibiru was real and headed for an encounter with the Earth in 2012, astronomers would have been tracking it for at least the past decade, and it would be visible by now to the naked eye. There are no planetary alignments for the next few decades. Earth will not cross the galactic plane in 2012. And even if these alignments were to occur, their effects on the earth will go by unnoticed. As far as Harold Camping goes, he based his claims in the Bible, and he should have looked at it closer. It says, numerous times throughout the Bible, you never know when the end will come. And really, there are over 200 prophecies in the Bible. Why would there be hidden codes and dates in it when everything else has been left wide open? And yet, after all these failures, people do not know when to quit. And why? Why do people continuously try to predict the end of the world when our track record proves that we have not been able to do it successfully? It could be that these people are tired of their lives. Maybe they have had bad things happen to them in their past to make them want the world to end. Some probably desire more than their current life has to offer. And when you get down to it, misery loves company. Because really, if you're going to die, you might as well try to bring the whole world with you, right? But another thing that bothers me is that Christians try it too. Now, I'm not putting down other religions, but as a Christian myself, it makes me mad that they try to do it when it states clearly in the Bible that we cannot predict the end of the world. Why do they do it? The biggest reason is most likely a desire for the promise for the eternal rewards we receive when we die. Just like everyone else, they're probably tired of this world, especially the moral decay around us. And like myself, we're watching for the signs of the world's end. Some just take it a little more seriously. And I'm ashamed to say that money and fame are probably a good motivation as well. Another group that often tries to predict the end are a group dubbed religious fanatics. They are a group that believes in biblical prophecy to the point of obsession. They're endlessly speculating and setting dates for the end of the world, to the point that they play with prophecy to make it whatever they need it to be. An example, Monte Judah argued that the tribulation began in 1993 and that the Antichrist would appear in Jerusalem in March of 1997 to stop the temple sacrifices. Dr. Ronald Reagan, a teacher of biblical prophecy, contacted him to ask him if he knew about the issue that there were no temple sacrifices being held at that time. His reply, I know, that's a problem. He then said, they'll be started, they'll be stopped. Later he issued a statement saying this, I am so convinced that I am right, that if what I prophesied does not happen, I will demand that I be taken out and stoned to death. I thought you might like to know that he did not get stoned when the world did not end. For another part of my opinion, I'm going to go into a biblical view of how the world will end. What will happen first is the rapture. In an instant, millions of people will vanish with no explanation as to where they went. Among the people taken will be Christians, children below the age of accountability, and the mentally ill. From there, the tribulation will start with a world leader proclaiming peace, also known as the Antichrist. He will establish one world currency and religion, and also a 7-year peace treaty with Israel. Throughout all this time, there will be disasters that no man has ever seen before. Earthquakes, tsunamis, meteors, famine, the list goes on. Midway through the peace treaty, the world leader will be killed. After that, he will come back to life by the devil's power, and things will become a literal hell on earth. He will attack the Jews and all the Christians that have become saved since the rapture. You'll have to have the mark of the beast if you want to buy anything. 666, I'm sure you all know that one. And either way, if you don't get it, you may die, either by starvation or by the Antichrist forces. But if you do get it, it's a one-way trip into the lake of fire. Fun, huh? It all gets better. It'll accumulate into a final attack on Jerusalem. Every country will be trying to destroy it. But before all hope is lost, Jesus will return to stop the fighting. The Antichrist and his servants will be thrown into the lake of fire, and Satan will be bound for 1,000 years while Jesus rules here on earth for the same time period. After 1,000 years are over, Satan will be released for one final round, and Jesus will put a permanent stop to his deeds. After that, the dead will be resurrected and judged for their deeds. Anyone not saved will go into the lake of fire along with Satan. After that, a new heaven and earth will be created, and will live there forever with God. Now that you've heard that fun bit, here's the final bit to my opinion. No matter what you have heard from me, no one knows when the world will end, only God. Look at this verse. Matthew 24:36. No one knows about the day or hour, not even the angels of heaven, nor the Son, but only the Father. This is one example. There are plenty of others that say pretty much the same thing. And you know what? If I'm wrong here about the end of the world, we still do not know when the world will end, and most likely we will never know. So please don't panic. When the world ends, and it will end, there's nothing that can be done about it. So what can we do? Here's my call to action. Live like the world is ending tomorrow. Try spending more time with family and friends. Go to the games, recitals, and graduations. Go to the movies on occasion, or just take a walk in the park with them. If anything, just ask what their day was like. It can really make the difference between a good and a bad day. Help others more. Give food or money to a homeless person or to a family needing food or clothing. Really, would a couple of bucks kill you? If you can't give money, give some of your time. Make a meal at a homeless shelter or visit an elderly person or a child needing a friend. An hour every few weeks. That's not much. It won't kill you. Live so you won't have any regrets. Try new things. Travel different places. Take a few risks. Take the time who you are and expand your hobbies and interests. And do your part to make the world a better place. Really, 1% can make a difference. And it doesn't have to be anything big. A smile can make all the difference to someone who needs it. In conclusion, I've gone over why you shouldn't panic, the opposition's predictions, my argument to those predictions, what I have to say, and to live like the world is ending tomorrow. And don't worry about the world coming to an end today. It's already tomorrow in Australia. Thank you. Well, I reached 11 minutes according to mine. How close was mine?
Let's see, I had 10:57. I think it's stopped.
I lost my points for that, but okay, but oh well.